Warning: MF Uncensored contains adult language and discussion. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links not only to this show, but some of our other shows like Cinematic Adventures and the Multiverse Fancast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul. With me via the Zoom studio is Mr. Todd Baker. Todd, how are you today?
You know what? Couldn't be better, man. Yeah, you?
Oh, living the dream. It's a little rainy Sunday, so it's perfect for just sitting down, doing some work, and talking to somebody who I have a feeling we're going to be talking for quite some time about certain things. And I won't get ahead of ourselves. But Todd, why don't you tell our guests a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. My company, Project Nine, I'm a transformation coach and kind of help people that are trapped professionals and they're in a dead end career or they're not seeing they stopped looking at like their life as a whole, right?
Mm.
Like all the other aspects of it, because they feel trapped because their education or their level of certain achievement has got them there, but they want more and just helping them get there. That's kind of where I focus. But the cool thing is that it's all based on my story, so it's easy to talk about because I've gone through it.
Yeah. So for you though, like you didn't start off doing this. I find that when most people who move into this kind of lifestyle or this kind of change, they are the kind of people that don't they realize how stationary they've gotten at some point. And they realize, like, for me, I hate the idea of not moving. I constantly like to be moving. I don't like to be stagnant. I don't like to just be like, well, this is the best that I'm going to get, so let's just stay here. I have a feeling that you are of a similar mindset where it's like I have a feeling that you were here at one point and you were like, screw this, I can go here instead.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And for as much as anyone out there achieves, there's always more to do.
Mhm.
uh, it's like I'm sure you got the same kind of thing. Like I've got a daily ritual, right? And it's got a morning which is pre-work, and then it's got a night which is post-work.
Mhm.
um, and part of that is one of the things in the morning that I focus on is what am I doing to get 1% better today? And then at the end of the day, figuring out, like, did I accomplish that? Because there's always stuff to learn and always people to talk to, or experiences to have that just they round us out and really fill up our lives, because they can create some amazing memories that you wouldn't have had if you were stagnant and just kind of like, well, it's Sunday so it must be football day, and automatically you fall into it.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's all about the journey and what we experience along the way. That's all part of it.
So yeah, I want to circle back. You mentioned your daily rituals. Now, I am a big fan of daily rituals. Like I'm literally sitting here. I make my tea every day. There's certain things that if I don't do them, my day just doesn't feel exactly right. Whether it's physical training or spending a little bit of time on podcasting or going to work, I guess. But for you, like, what does your daily routine look like?
Yeah, so basically I'm up at 5:30 a.m. every single day, and before anything, the first thing that I do is I spend 5 minutes thinking about everything that's going right in my life.
Hmm.
And it could be gratitude, but it's just what's going right. My kids, they're happy, they're healthy. I got one in college, one in high school. That's going right in my life. And then from there it goes into, I focus on the 1%. Like, what am I going to do to get 1% better today? Then I go into like three things that I have to accomplish in my business today. And then from there, it's like, either I'll work out either at home or I'll go for a walk, get some stretching in, do a little bit of meditation, brush my teeth, take a shower, get dressed, and then I'm into my day.
Mhm. See, I like that. It's not overwhelming. A lot of people, when they want to make drastic life choices, that's why New Year's resolutions. We did a whole episode on why New Year's resolutions are total bullshit. And
Oh,
it's
thank God you
oh
said
yeah.
that.
Oh my God. They are I have no problem if somebody wants to set goals. I have no problem at all. You want to set goals? Great. Set goals. Do better. Be the best version of yourself. It's those people that will approach like a New Year's and they'll wait just for New Year's. Like they could have started yesterday, but instead they're going to wait 3 months now. All right,
Yeah.
I'm going to lose weight. Okay, how much weight are you going to lose? I don't know. Well, that's not a good start. Like it's an idea. And then you got to make it very manageable because a lot of people will do something super drastic.
Yeah. Well, and so I take a little bit of a with my program, like I tell people when you set a goal, like don't put any limits on it. Go as big as you want with your goal. Because when you get to your how, like how you're going to go from where you're at today to that ultimate goal, those become your smaller steps. Those
Mhm.
become your more manageable steps. But don't limit yourself with that top goal. I've just had too many experiences, and they're great with clients who, they set what they thought at the beginning was this huge goal, and then they started to get there, and all of a sudden their eyes open. They're like, man, I didn't aim high enough. And that's a cool thing to see, is because all of a sudden they thought they were going too big, and then it ended up too small, and now they're just, it's like the floodgates have opened, and they're taking on all this stuff. But yeah, resolutions are it's a complete farce. I think that people approach goals completely the wrong way. They think, well, I'll just, I'll write it down, and then I'll take these small incremental steps. And it's like, all right, first of all, you got to do it for a lifetime, not a short time. So that whole weight loss thing, that's crap,
Mm.
because you can't continue to lose 10 pounds every single year, but you can get healthy. You can get fit every single day of every year. Right. And people don't understand that the challenge with really setting goals and making them ingrained in you, it starts with you. Like, it doesn't start with a goal. It starts with you doing some serious self-reflection and action, and asking the right questions to figure out, like, why it's important, and what do you ultimately want, and what can you commit to, because everyone's going to be different. Not everyone's like, well, I got a free schedule, I can put 2 hours a day into this. Some people are like, I got 20 minutes. That's great. Then start with 20 minutes, but start.
See, I like
And
how, yeah, I'll keep going. Go ahead.
yeah, and don't start when Hallmark says, hey, it's a new year, now you can start tomorrow. I mean, what's preventing you? That's the challenge, is getting people to realize, like, a calendar doesn't dictate when you start and finish things.
Yeah, the only thing the calendar does for my health and fitness is how I know what day is leg day and what day is chest day. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love though that you said that it starts with you. A lot of people are very quick to blame the rest of the world, the rest of the universe. Like, I was born this way, or this is how I am because of this or this. I don't like that. I like the idea that if something's happening, I have choices about how I respond to it. So if I'm not feeling well, it's because something else is going on and I have to think about it. Like, this past weekend was my birthday weekend. I didn't feel particularly well after my birthday weekend because I did things that I don't normally do, like excessive drinking or eating, whatever it is. But I know that that's not me going, well, now I'm fat or now I'm unhealthy. It's because of one decision, one night. What am I going to do today to fix it or to feel better?
Yeah.
And I like that you have your own story about how you got here. And I would love to hear more about the pre-Project Nine, Todd.
Yeah. Yeah. So my journey kind of started with, like, I was working for a home builder,
Mhm.
just selling houses. I was the guy sitting in the garage, waiting for people to come in or whatever. And my kids were a lot younger then, and I'd watch their games, baseball and softball, on this, and it was like a pong game, just watching dots go around, and oh, he's a bat, oh, you got a double, but there's no video.
Right.
So I'm relying on my ex and my parents to send me stuff. And I came to the realization one day. I was like, I'm just sitting there, and it's a July day, and I'm sitting in a garage with three other people, and we're in between appointments, and I'm like watching the game, and I'm like, I'm missing the best part of their lives. Like, I'm missing the interaction with them because I'm sitting in this garage. And so literally the next day I walked in, I was like, I quit. Like, I'm done. My boss was like, that's funny. I'll see you tomorrow. I was like, oh, well, you can wait all you want, but I ain't going to be here. And then, so, I went and got my real estate license, and gave me some more freedom to be able to experience some of those things. But then what really led to Project Nine and kind of this thought was, it was January of 20. And like everyone else, I set thankfully, my last ever because I woke up and looked in the mirror, and I didn't like what I saw looking back at me. And so I was like, I gotta lose weight. My resolution that year lasted a grand total of 3 days.
Wow.
Day four, I live in Denver. So day four, I wake up, it's cold, it's snowing. I'm like, I am not going for a walk today. And instead of just being like, I'll wait till spring, I'll wait till next year, whatever. Like, I spent the day really thinking about how easy it was to just scrap it.
Mm-hmm.
And what led me to that point to where I was like 3 days in, and I was ready to just be like, forget it. So I started digging into like why it was truly important and what I really wanted out of looking better in a mirror to myself. And what it ended up is it switched from motivation to inspiration for me. So motivation is external, and it's fleeting. Sometimes you wake up and you see a quote or something that's supposed to be motivational, and you're like, that didn't do it for me. But inspiration, that's the fire in you that, like, you're not going to fail. Like, that's that fire that just keeps driving no matter what. And for me, it ended up, the thought that I had was, I did not want to be the dad who couldn't be active and do things with my kids. I didn't want to be on the sidelines. I wanted to be able to go play catch and go, if they wanted to go fishing, I wanted them to come home and be like, hey, we want to go fishing. And instead of me saying, well, here's $20 for lunch, I wanted to be like, great, throw your crap in the truck and let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And really kind of just be that way for the rest of my life. Because I mean, I'm 48, but I still probably got 40 years plus left
Nowadays, especially.
And so it's like, what am my life is far from, if anything, my life is just starting. It's not like I'm on the downside of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so through that, it's amazing what happens. And you've experienced this as well. It's like, the more active you get, your brain starts to work a little bit differently. Like, stuff starts connecting, and all of a sudden, like, just ideas just keep flooding and flooding. And for me, it was basically like, I know I'm not the only one that has gone through this, like, set a resolution and fail it, but I've got a pretty compelling story, and it's working for me. Like, I can feel myself. I'm getting fit. I'm getting healthier. I'm able to do more and more stuff. And how can I help other people with the same journey? And from that was born the company. And then, it's kind of grown from there, because there's a ton of people out there that they just need help. They just need, they're at the point to where the pain has become such that they're like raising their hand going, look, I've tried resolutions, don't work. I've tried motivational seminars, don't work. Like, I need help. And that's the whole purpose of the company, is like, I just want to help other people get what they were put on earth to do. I think that everyone that was born to date, they were put on this earth to be great. It's just realizing it and the steps that you need to take to get there.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think the thing that really sticks out for me from you is you have a genuine want to just help people. Like, just that, that that's what you're here to do, to be a source of helping others. And I've talked to other motivational, like I've been to motivational seminars, like I've done like your Tony Robbins, your stuff like that, and they're all very good at what they do. But I always say there's two types of people that do any sort of motivation or health coaching, right? And one of them is just I know how to talk and I can get up on a stage and just talk. And I could tell you all these great things, but it's for me to go home to my mansion with my, trophy wife and all that stuff. That's my goal. Then there's the others, like whether it's health and fitness or motivational speaking, whatever it is. They're the people that just genuinely want to help people, that could sit down in a room with someone and be like, hey, I don't know you, but I want to help you. And I get that vibe from you. And I think that makes a big difference. Like if I were to sit down with somebody, I always like to say, if somebody knows more than me, I want to know more. Like if somebody is smarter than me or knows something that I don't know, I always want to pick their brains. And that's why I love doing interviews. It's one of my favorite things because I like to think that I know a thing or two about a thing or two, but there are plenty of people that know a lot about other things.
Oh yeah, it's like it's something that I do every time I go to like a dinner or a networking event or something like that. Is I have one goal, and it's I want to meet the smartest person in the room, and and if that means I got to talk to everybody until I meet them, that's what I'm going to do. And it's just because it's just curiosity, and that's missing in this world is curiosity.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, and people ask, well, how do if there's a very easy test that anyone can do to tell if you're naturally curious or if you're not.
Okay.
The next time you go to lunch out and about, sit down, get your order, whatever, and then just kind of keep track. Do you find yourself spending more time like focused on your food, focused on like a phone, kind of focused on what's right in front of you? Or do you spend more time people watching? Because if you people watch, you're curious. And it's just a natural thing, And it's not to say that if you don't people watch, you're not curious. It's something that you can change. It's you have to be conscious of it and know where your starting point is.
So speaking of starting points, you decided to make huge changes to your life. How did Project Nine start? And can you tell me a little bit more about your 9-point plans?
Yeah, so like I said, it started literally like just about 6 months after I started walking, and I still walk every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just started getting the ideas. My kids actually helped me with the logo. It's they play baseball and softball, right? So how many people are on defense during both of those games? 9. Yeah, and then you can see in the logo there's a diamond around it. It kind of looks like aces.
Okay,
So
yeah.
that's where that came from, and they'll tell you to this day, like, yep, we get a royalty. I'm like, no, you don't. Your childhood and all the crap that I paid for. That's
That's your
your
royalty. Yep, that's your
yeah.
allowance.
But the biggest thing, but with the plan is that it it makes people focus on two things. The first is clarity. You have to be very clear about where your goal is and where you're going, because especially if you're trying something for the first time, or if you're trying something for the 400th time, but you're doing it, you're like, okay, I gotta do this. You have to be clear, because there's going to be all sorts of clouds and all sorts of stuff that's going to try and knock you off course. So you have to be clear on it. And the second thing is that the plan is simple. It's very simple. It's not like some 87-point plan to become better at this, or you want to be rich by the time you're 25, follow this 62-point plan. It's like, I got through 2. I don't, so it's very simple, and it gets people to focus in the right areas, which is like what your goal is, why it's important, what you're going to face. And then ultimately, like I said, I dealt with clients all the time that, like, they'll tell me, like, after 6 or 7 weeks, like, man, I thought my goal was way too big and it ended up being way too small. And so, okay, part of your simplicity is you have to develop like what's next.
Mhm.
Like you're going to start achieving stuff. So what's your plan for what goes after that? Because the more planning you can put in, the less you have to think about it. And then the only thing that's left is just action. It's not like you have to put a day or two into your schedule and be like, I got to come up with a new plan. It's just no, you just migrate to the other thing. Your work ethic and your habits and stuff like that, they're already there. It's just now you got a new point of clarity that you're aiming at. I was reading the Power of One More by Ed Milet,
Mhm.
and something that stuck out, and I've just started this. I'm about halfway through, but something that stuck out to me is like a quote in there, and it was like, "Persistency will get you there. Consistency will keep you there."
I like that.
And it's totally true,
Oh yeah.
right? Like, and that's the thing that we all strive for. That's why, like, you and I, like, I, I mean, I wrote out like my morning rituals, and they change, as things come and go and stuff like that, and seasons. It changes, but it's a living document, and it's something that is easy enough to. I jump on, make a change, print it out, I put it on my bedside table. And you want to know the easiest habit that you can um, put in place that will get your butt out of bed first thing instead of hitting snooze 10 times.
I would love to know.
Whatever you use for your alarm, most people use their phone. Don't put it next to your bed.
Hmm.
Put it on the other side of the room,
Oh yeah.
because now you got to get up.
So I would actually hide my phone under my laundry, so that way when it went off in the morning, I would have to go find it to turn it off. And there's nothing more frustrating than trying to not wake up your significant other and also try and get that phone, because my wife and I have very different schedules. My work, I get up around 4 a.m. every day, and my work day starts at 7. So I use that time. I do podcast editing. I have a breakfast because I was a terrible person when it came to breakfast. I never had it. Now, like, I finally got into good habits with that. And then I'll work out. I'll do my entire workout because I know that at the end of my workday, there's a fair chance that either A, I'm going to be stuck at work too long, or B, I'm going to have no motivation to do it when I get home. And the morning is my time. It's my time to just enjoy the quiet, sit with the cat, do all that stuff. And I like the idea of just simple little tweaks and little steps, but having big goals. I find that actually very refreshing, because it feels like when you talk to people like this, it's one or the other. It's all right, here's a bunch, your goal is too big. Let's do a lot of small steps, or your goal is not big enough, but you just got to go for it. I like how you have a very nice, very digestible plan where it's you can have huge goals. Just what are the steps that you're going to start taking to get to those goals, and then reevaluate and change. It's like you said, you can't lose 10 pounds every year.
Yep.
And I like that idea, because for me, that's how I started my health journey. Was I need to lose weight. I need to look like this guy. I'll be very honest. It was because I wanted to look like that stupid kid from Twilight who's like all shredded, because the girl I was dating at the time was all about him. And I was like, screw this. I'm going to do that too. And for me, it took a long time for me to realize, hey, it's about being healthy. It's not about being so shredded that you can't eat the things you want to eat all the time. Like, it's about just finding a good balance. And I feel like your program kind of goes that way instead.
Yeah, it's like, and you bring up a great point. Is comparison.
Hmm.
Is what is your comparison? Because so many people, they're comparing themselves to the Joneses down the street, or who's posting what on Instagram and Facebook, and they're like, that's where I got to go. It's like, no, your only comparison is you from yesterday. That's it. That's the only comparison that matters to you. All the rest of the stuff, that whatever. But if you can look at it on a day-to-day basis, and just it sounds small, but just get 1% better
Hmm.
every single day. And I've heard people say, well, that's nothing. I'm like, really? Because if you do that every day for a year, guess what? At the end of the year, you are now 37 times better than when you started the year. That's significant. And it's not, and it puts it in context and helps people digest the, I can get way better, but I don't have to do it all in the next month.
Mm.
Like I can break this up. And there's things that, what people count as getting better, especially in the beginning, they're like, well, I faced an obstacle because it was raining, but, I found something that I could do at home and it really didn't count. So I don't know if I got 1% better. And it's like, wait, so you had a built-in excuse, something that would have derailed you in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You found an alternative thing to do and you made a plan and you did it, right? Yes, you got 1% better.
I love that. That's so people need to really they need to celebrate their small victories. Like they I used to be terrible with it. I used to be the worst with if I didn't do my full workout, all whatever X amount of time I allotted to it or whatever workout program I was doing, I was miserable. I was like, I hate it. Like I had a terrible day. And then as I got older and I said, no, you listen to your body. And your body did not want to work out today. You needed to take time to just relax. So that helped me shift my mindset where being healthy and being fit and being just like good to go doesn't always mean lifting all the weights or working out every single day until you can't move. It's also about just finding really good balance within yourself too.
Oh yeah. I mean, you asked like some of the most successful people out there and take monetary out of it, right?
Mhm.
Like everyone thinks when you say successful, they think, oh,
Yeah.
who's worth, they look at the Forbes list and it's like there's plenty of people that make plenty of money but are just wildly successful, but they're not on a Forbes list.
Mhm.
But you take those most successful people, and if you ask them what's the most important daily ritual that you have every single day that you commit to, I can guarantee you one of the things that most people will say is I sleep.
Oh yeah. Love sleep.
Yeah, and it's just you have to commit to it, and it's gone are the days of like every day is a grind and you just keep grinding away. It's like, no, do it smartly.
Right.
Like there's other technology has allowed us such a breadth of just like stuff that we can get done. And, you know, between like technology and automations and all this stuff, you're getting 3 times as much accomplished. So you don't do it smartly. Like use your time wisely. I mean, like stuff like this. Yeah, we're both here. We're present. This is something that's worth the time to dedicate, like in person. But if it's like I gotta send 15 emails, man, go do 10 minutes of research of AI and just set it.
It's
And that takes your plate. Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God. Like I never really used AI with our podcasting, but now that I've started kind of integrating it just to help alleviate some of the burnout on my end, like it's crazy. But like I also think about, a lot of people nowadays they want instant satisfaction, instant like they want to post a TikTok that goes viral and then suddenly they're millionaires like that day. And from someone who we go through a lot of waves with our podcasting and we've had a lot of great successes, we've had a lot of great failures. I will be the first one to be like, it does not. Every podcaster wants to be the next Joe Rogan. I just want to enjoy what I do and talk to people and have fun. And also, this is a time for like my friends and I to sit down and all that stuff. So once I kind of shifted, even just that, to thinking more like this is for my fulfillment. It's not for financial freedom. If that happens, cool. Like I'll be all about it. But at the same time, once I shifted from how I wanted to, or why I was doing this, it really just kind of changed how much I enjoy it.
Oh yeah. It's. I mean, what makes life like enjoyable and fun and just like worth it is it's not what you have, like what you drive, where you live. It's like the people that you meet and you associate with, because you never know where you're going to meet someone that's like, you know what, I can actually see myself hanging out with this person, or this is someone that like they got a little bit more figured out than me, so I'm going to look to them for a little bit of help and guidance. But you never have those conversations unless you're actually doing stuff. And so yeah, but that's what it's about, is the relationships that we all gain throughout this whole thing, is because you never know where that Joe Rogan, you never know. I mean, there's another one out there.
Oh yeah.
We just don't know where they are yet.
I like that. Now, for you though, you mentioned in some of the information that I got beforehand that after when you went to start this new project, you had a lot, like, how did it affect your relationships with other people? Like, did people not support you, or did people disappear? Like, that's when you find out where your true friends are, when things like this happen.
Yeah. So the cool thing is that it's whenever you get your clarity of your vision and you start making progress on that one, you get this nice little ripple effect, and it starts to impact all sorts of different areas of your life, even though you're not focused on them. For me, my relationship with my kids improved dramatically because I told them why I was going to walk. I told them why it was important. I told them, it was because I wanted to be there for them, and I walked them through it. And so they immediately they jumped on board the accountability train.
Right.
And that my daughter stuck her little evil head up about 3 weeks in. I was making breakfast one day. It was snowing, and she comes downstairs and she goes, "Are you going to go for your walk today?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to see what the storm does, but I will go. I just want to see if it's going to let up." And without even hesitation, she just looked at me. She goes, "You mean now?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do."
Damn
And
it.
off I. But in that moment, it still gives me goosebumps, because in that moment, what I learned and what I experienced was that because I was open and honest with them about the importance of what I was doing, it showed me that it was important to them too,
Mhm.
that they want me to be able to participate and want me to be there for them, with them, for the long haul. So it immediately, that I was like, okay, that's the coolest moment of my life so far. But then the other thing is, because like I started with like getting fit, at some point, especially with like if it's like anything health wise, because it's a visual change,
Mhm.
right? Like people can see you're physically changing, right? And at the beginning, I'd get a lot of questions from friends, family, whatever. What are you doing? Are you still eating? What are you taking a diet thing, or what are you doing? And I was just, no, I'm just walking, just eating right and walking. That's all I'm doing. And I'd get questions and stuff like that. But then about 6 months in, it changed.
Mhm.
It went from what I was doing to now it was who I was. And I knew that that had happened because those questions that I was getting from people stopped. People stopped asking because they were just like, he just shows up. This is what he looks like now, and this is what he's doing, and this is who he is. It's not like, oh, you got a high school reunion coming up, or you got this, or you got a suit or something like that. It'll make that change from like what you're doing, and it'll change to who you are. And that's a big step, because it's like, once you establish that new level of a new version of you, you don't go back.
Mhm. I
Like,
really
you just keep going forward.
see. I like that, especially because like you mentioned the high school reunion thing. I remember when my tenure was rolling around, I was like, I got to get so shredded for this. I'm not going to be like, and I remember like going on a crash diet beforehand. Like this was probably about almost 10 years ago now. I went on like a crash diet. Like I was like, I'm going to lose as much weight as possible. And oh God, it wasn't even worth it. Nobody cared.
No,
Like I was the only one that was like, I need to look a certain way. it's crazy. But it sounds like you've had a lot of success building this program. Now, if somebody wanted to get involved with Project Nine or like get involved with you, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, the easiest way is just if you go to the website, it's project9life.com, and you'll see down at the very bottom there's a contact us.
Mhm.
Just click on that, and basically it'll just ask you for like a name and an email. That'll send us an alert. We'll schedule you for your initial discovery call, and the purpose of that call is really to figure out like where you're at, where you want to go, and why haven't you done it in the past. And really it's because we want to make sure on both sides that we're the right fit for each other. I am not that coach or that person that's like, I'm just going to jam everyone into this and take all the money I can.
Mhm.
If I can't help you, I'm not going to even ask. I'm just not. It does me and you no good to get into a program where you spend money on it and you get nothing out of it. So, it's the same thing. Like if you talk to 10 different coaches, we could all say the same basic thing. But one of us is going to say something or phrase something in a way that's going to spark you to action. That's the person that you need to seek out, is the person that you can listen to and hear, and their program makes you do something about it, not just makes you think about it, or okay, well, I'll do that down the road. It's the person that's like, God, I got it. Well, tomorrow's Monday, might as well start tomorrow.
Mhm. Oh, I love it. So, as we are approaching the end of our time, we are going to do one of our favorite listener segments, and that is our rapid fire round. So, I basically pick 4 or 5 questions. They are just off the top of the cuff, whatever comes to mind first. I try and tailor them. One of them you actually might have already answered, but I already wrote them down. So, I'm just going to say them because this is how our show goes. All right.
And it's your world, man. We're just living in it.
So, that's what I always say when people ask, like, what do you do on your podcast? I was like, I don't know, whatever we want. It's our show. People either listen to it or they don't.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
true.
So I got 4 questions for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite healthy meal?
Uh, Anything fish related.
Do you have a preference for fish? Because I'm a salmon guy.
Uh, salmon is one of my top, or like raw tuna.
Oh, all right. Okay. Morning or evening workouts?
Morning.
Get it done. I like that. All right.
Yeah,
One book that inspired your journey.
that's a really good one. The one that really has, I'll say, shifted gears for me and really put like accelerated kind of what I'm doing is Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
I always write down the books because the book thing is usually also for my wife who does a book page on Instagram and she works at a library. But also I do enjoy reading. So for me, it's always trying to build my own library. So it's a little selfish on my part.
Oh, that's fine. So like, was it like 3 years ago I stopped drinking? So what was my liquor cabinet is now my library. And I'm like you, like I'm always reading stuff. And that's the great thing about coaches. It's like, let us do the reading and let us do the interpreting and just give you the Cliff's Notes versions. Otherwise, you can go spend, thousands of dollars on books and take all the time that you want to do it. But, you know, I do it anyway.
All right, I love it. One last question, and I know we kind of poked fun at motivational quotes or motivational phrases, but do you have a quote that you live by?
Yes.
Go for it.
If you want different, do different.
I like it. I like that. Yeah. All right. Oh, see, that's why I love the rapid fire questions. That's when you get like the most fun, raw answers. It is my favorite thing. So that is unfortunately going to wrap up our time with Todd. Don't forget, guys, if you go to project9life.com, you can get more
Yep.
information for Todd and talk about his coaching business and just learn a little something. I always say it never hurts to learn more. And I really hope that some of you guys make your way that way, because I feel like, Todd, again, you're a very genuine coach. You're somebody that really just has a need to help, has a want to help, and I think that really does make you stand out from some of the other coaches that I know of.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man, and it's very true. I'm only my legacy is built through the successes of my clients, not through anything else.
I
So,
love that. But that is going to wrap us up, Todd. Thank you so much for coming on today.
thank you, man. I appreciate it, and thanks everyone out there for watching.